Darling, you have just begun. By Dancing Lassie. Chapter 9. It's a hard decision, but Jaskier needs to leave Kaer Morhen on his own without Geralt and Ciri. It has been a quiet 3 months since Midwinter, and like the snow, the earlier tension has all but disappeared. Eskel still isn't his biggest fan, though the Witcher at least seems to accept Jaskier's place in Geralt's life, and Ciri definitely occupies a secure place in the scarred Witcher's heart, which is why Jaskier's glad that Eskel plans to stay at Kaer Morhen for a few more months, even though the pass down the mountain has cleared enough for travelers. Lambert and Cohen had set off on the path a week ago, and Jaskier has desperately missed their cheerful presence. Kaer Morhen may have been on the large side for just the 7 of them, yet it had never seemed as dank, dark, and desolate as it did without those two. Jaskier is just praying he'll see them both again next winter. He knows Lambert plans to return mid-autumn to help progress Ciri's training, and Cohen has promised to turn up next winter as well, but the path is full of dangers. Jaskier can't help worrying. He wishes he could bind them both to him, put them under his protection, but neither had shown any desire to be tied to him in such a way. Jaskier knows better than to ask. And while he can't claim them, there are others on whom he's left a mark. Others he's not seen in too long. Still, he dallies. He hems and haws and avoids discussing his worries with Geralt until the Witcher corners him in their room one night, demanding to know what has got into his river god. I need to leave, Jaskier blurts out, forgetting all the carefully worded speeches and explanations he's been composing in his head for the last few weeks. Geralt stiffens and Jaskier hurries to explain before his Witcher assumes the worst. I need to check in on Ike. Geralt relaxes slightly, and Jaskier takes that as permission to invade his lover's space and wrap his arms around him. A soothing hand strokes up and down his back. So you'll just pop down to make sure he's okay, then come back up. It'll be good to know he's okay. Ciri will be happy to hear how he's doing. Jaskier doesn't relax. He knows the hard part of the conversation is coming up. You can travel using that secret mystical river god trick. You'll be back in less than a month. I won't be back until after Beltane, Jaskier admits, and he can feel the way Geralt goes rigid against him. The hand on his back stops abruptly mid-motion. That's over 2 months. I know, he whispers. I'm sorry. Geralt pulls away, and his face is horrifyingly blank. Jaskier tries to pull Geralt back towards him, but he might as well have been trying to maneuver a Witcher-sized lump of stone. Geralt, please, he begs. I wouldn't do this if I didn't need to, but I have an obligation to check up on Ike and Mousak. Your brother said they were fine. But they're not his. Ike is mine and Mousak is as good as. I need to see them. Geralt runs a tired hand over his face. But why take so long? Ciri needs you. I need you. The last is said in a whisper, almost as though Geralt is ashamed to admit to such a thing. Jaskier surges forward to take Geralt's face between his palms and tilt it down to press a firm kiss to his witch's lips. I want to visit old Father Ponta. He's, like me, the second incarnation of his river. Maybe he can shed some light on the condition I have with my predecessor. If not him, then there are a couple of others in the same position. Sword-calloused fingers stroke his cheek, and Jaskier knows he's forgiven. Are you so very worried about Pancrans? Geralt asks him softly. I don't know, Jaskier admits shakily, which is as good as a yes. I've had flashes in the past. I'd go somewhere I'd never been and get a flash of recognition, or I'd crave a food I'd never even heard of. But these were little things. I've never turned into it before. What does that mean, Geralt? What does that say about who I am? How much of me is me? He is pulled into a strong chest, head bumping into Geralt's shin. All of you is you, Jaskier. I know it. I love you, and I know you are you. They stay where they are for a moment, each breathing in the comforting scent of the other. There's no chance you could get back sooner. Jaskier shook his head. I need to be with Mama for Beltane. That's not an obligation I can forego. This isn't precisely true. Uncle Boina had extended an invitation for Jaskier to spend Beltane with him and his daughters, and in the past, while studying at Oxenfurt, Jaskier had spent Beltane with old Father Panthar and his children. Uncle Boina had even offered to allow Geralt and Ciri to join him, but it wouldn't be the same as going home to Mama. And Jaskier is feeling depleted, stretched thin. He needs to regroup, gain his strength back. He needs to go back to the source of his magic and bask in the presence of his powerful mother. He needs to surround himself with his family and let them shelter him for a bit, keep him safe.
I'll miss you,
Geralt admits, breath tickling against his forehead.
I know we've spent months apart before, but it's different now.
I'll miss you too. The rest of the evening is spent slowly memorizing each other's bodies, trying to etch every inch into their memories to keep them company in the coming months. And if the touches linger longer than usual, and the kisses become increasingly more tender, they neither mention it. It's only later, when they're curled around each other in bed and drifting off to sleep, that Geralt chooses to shout at the moment.
You're the one who's going to have to break this to Ciri.
Ciri does not take it well. She looks at Jaskier with such anger and betrayal that the river god thinks it would be less painful to simply tear his heart from his chest and place it in front of her. You can't! She insists. They're by themselves in the small room he's set up as her classroom when she has lessons with him, so at least there won't be an audience when she starts yelling at him.
I need to,
he tells her seriously, already feeling exhausted by the conversation. No! She stamps her foot. It's not safe. Nilfgaard might get you. You need to stay here with me. You can't leave me! He feels like the lowest scum on earth. Ciri's lip is trembling and her eyes are becoming red that she fights back tears.
Ciri, I swear to you I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have to.
Then don't! Stay here with us! Why do you have to go? Geralt and I are here! Isn't that enough? He shakes his head.
I'm not human, Ciri. I'm a river god, and as such there are certain things, certain ceremonies, I cannot break or deviate from. At Beltane, I must go replenish my power and pay homage to my mother.
Then tell her to come here. Uncle Vesemir won't mind.
Mama can't leave a river easily. She's too tied to it. She can't wander freely as her children can, so we must go to her.
Ciri sniffs, and the tears she's been holding back start to trickle down her cheeks. But it's my birthday on Beltane, she chokes out, voice weak and wobbly, and it's our day after that. There's no way you'll be able to get back up here in time for it if you're all the way down south. She's right, and Jaskier could feel his own eyes sting with the truth of it. Apart from that 1 year he'd spent unconscious and recovering from Yennefer's dagger, he's never once missed their day before. This will be the first year he's ever consciously missed it, and he cannot think of anything to say in his defense at such a betrayal.
I swear, Ciri, I'll be back as soon as I can.
She nods, but the hug she returns when he wraps her in his arms is half-hearted. He sets off 2 days later, still feeling tremendously guilty. Vesemir had seen his hesitation the night before he left and had taken him aside. You're doing what you have to do for your family. Don't beat yourself up over that. Sometimes we must make hard decisions in order to protect our loved ones. If spending Beltane with your mother offers you the best chance of protecting Ciri in the future, you'd be a fool not to take it, and I don't think you're a fool. Jaskier had been so overcome with emotion at these encouraging words that he dragged the surprised Witcher into a desperate hug. Vesemir had awkwardly coughed over his shoulder, but still swung one arm up to pat Jaskier manfully on the back a couple of times.
I'll be back as soon after Beltane as I can possibly manage,
Jaskier had told him, letting Vesemir go and take a grateful step back.
I know we just don't really care for birthdays, but Beltane is Ciri's, so try and do something special, even if it's only a small thing. And the day after was always our day. It's when I used to come and celebrate a birthday with her, seeing as I could never manage the actual day, so please just keep an eye on her then. And don't let Geralt brood too much in my absence or hide away his feelings. He can't. Now he has Ciri. He needs to be open for her. Just remind them I love them when they need it.
Vesemir had looked distinctly uncomfortable with all this talk of emotions and feelings, but he had agreed.
And if you need me in an emergency, just let Gwen know, Jaskier had continued. She can get a message to me.
Jaskier had known that now that they had been officially introduced, Vesemir and Gwen had taken to meeting every couple of weeks down by the river. He didn't know how they would classify their relationship, and he didn't ask. Some things were meant to be private. But even with the pep talk from Vesemir and the genuine heartfelt hugs he had received from Ciri and Geralt that morning, he's still sad to leave. Kaer Morhen has begun to feel like home. Gwen is waiting for him by the river, I'll keep an eye on them for you, she promises him, giving him a fond smile. Give my love to your mother and siblings. My father sends his regards to you all. I'll see you soon, Yaska.
He gives her a wobbly smile and steps in the water, wading in until it reaches his waist. He ducks under and allows himself to dissolve, drift apart, and become one with the river as it rushes downstream. Water can travel fast, but Yasker can travel even faster as he flows from one water molecule to another, building up speed as he goes. It's what allows him to move quickly upstream as well as downstream, going against the tide of rushing water, though admittedly it does require some concentration. In a single day, he has flown down the Gwechlech into the Boyna and then up one of the Boyna's tributaries, only to reform near Banglin. He's planning to rest there for the night. In the morning, he can pop into the Livel, a tributary of the Bontar, and speed on his way to Oxenfurt to consult with the old river himself. It is strange to be surrounded by the bustling crowds of a city after so long spent in the solitude of the Blue Mountains. Yasker can't help but bask in the busyness. He's missed this. All these humans shouting and yelling at each other as they navigate their brief mortal lives. The huge range of emotions they can express with a single glance. How alive they all are! Completely extraordinary. He heads to one of the classier inns. Trava had given him a fat coin purse at midwinter, and Yasker wants to be seen as having done well for himself. He wants people to speculate about which court he might possibly have spent the winter in order to generate so much coin. He hopes it will quell any rumors that he might have been spending the cold months with a certain witcher and a missing princess. All it takes is a flash of a smile, and the innkeeper is delighted to offer Yasker his best room and a chance to perform that evening. He heads up to change and reappears in a new doublet with matching trousers, a midwinter gift from Mama his siblings had brought with them. It's green silk with gold leaves delicately stitched up the arms and legs, and Yasker can't help but preen under the admiring gazes of the patrons. He's missed performing. The small audience at Kermoren had been appreciative, but it was nothing compared to the rowdy applause of this crowd. He dances across the floor, occasionally being hoisted on the tables to nimbly exchange a few light-footed steps with a pretty maid as he sings her praises to the room. By the time he's finished his set, shooed away by hopeful admirers, and set himself up with a hearty dinner and a mug of ale, he's in a very good mood. The innkeeper's daughter had thoughtfully gathered up all the coins thrown at the stage for him and deposited them at his table with a blush and a smile. The only thing missing is a grumpy witcher and a ferocious princess. He doesn't know why he suddenly tenses when the door to the inn bangs open behind him. He isn't sure what sense alerts him to the identity of the new arrival. He just knows that fear has frozen his spine even as his heart hammers in his chest. It takes every ounce of acting and control he possesses to smooth his features into nonchalant indifference and turn to face the newcomer. He raises an unimpressed eyebrow at the familiar figure. Violet eyes glare back at him.